Hello and welcome to Lesson 8, made by the American Institute of Techniques and Management. In this lesson, we will be continuing the charts topic. So, first off, we would have to go back to the Lesson 7. But first off, let's maybe rename it before we do anything else. So, Lesson 7-8. Awesome. Let's open it. Okay, so this is where we left off. You can see those two different charts. Of course, I believe your previous task was to finish it. So I hope you have it in front of you. Otherwise, continuing the next tasks will be really difficult. Okay, so we spoke about choosing different names if we wanted to rename all of the columns, or if we wanted to change the entire amount of data, if we wanted to switch it to a different area. So what if we wanted to change not the entire amount of data, but let's say we wanted to change or remove 2 or 3 values from the entire topic of the chart. So of course you can do that. To do so, let's choose the basic chart where we have only one piece of data. In the basic one, we choose actually the only one area with data. So to change this, there are 2 ways. As I said before, it's either we right-click and click Select Data and go to Edit, Series Values. We have to mark it, otherwise it won't work. And now choose a different area for the values. Of course, well, obviously, there's one more thing I have to explain. Well, why is there an error? What Excel does, if you do it just like I did it, we'll mark it and then remove it. Excel thinks that you actually want to add an extra area, but this won't work because you have only enough names for the amount of data you had before. So if you want to change the amount, you have to actually delete it and then change the area. Then click Enter, and now it should be fine. You can lower the amount of data easily. As you can see, we are done at October right now. So October is the last month we have in our chart. But if you let's go back. If you wanted to add some data, actually select a higher amount. Let's try to do it right now. Single click is enough. Select data. Edit, and note one thing: we have only enough names for the chart for 12 months. So since we have this area, if we wanted to choose this area and a secondary area, you can do it by holding the Control key. So let's undo it. So if you want to select a higher amount of data, you can hold the Control key, as I said. So you select one. Now push the Control key and select any other area you wish. And see what happens right now is you actually have both of these areas in our table added to our chart. But note that the data acquisition is only for 12 months. So from the second data amount, so the lower values, which were, I believe, the amount of sales. So the amount of sales shows no names because Excel sees this as one continuous amount of data. Okay, let's go back. Great. So we're back to the amount data. And what else can we do? When we want to change also the amount of names, we can do the exact same thing. Just grab the name marker and drop it anywhere you want it. And see instantly what Excel does. It shows you that there's no name for this area. But let's go. Let's return to names. Great. And now the second way, you can do exactly the same by editing or removing. If we unmark this, let's see what happens. We actually remove the entire column. So let's return. This is a very fast and easy way to just show focus tables on the amount of data you're interested in. So let's say you're only interested in half a year, but you don't really want to delete all the data. So you click OK. You only choose 6 months, and there it is, from July to December. Okay, that's one way. Second way, or actually the third way, is by doing the very same thing. So you do the edit from the horizontal category at the axis table. Again, by selecting data, by right-clicking your mouse, you click edit, and you can change the name area anywhere you want. And by holding the Control key, you will do the very same thing. Okay. But you only have the series amount of data for 12 months, as I said. So basically, you can add as many names as you want, but they won't be shown because you do not have the numbers to create the columns. So once more, let's delete this one. Select the number, again select it, click OK. And note you still have 12 months because you don't really have the amount of series over here, so it won't input the data we wanted. Let's go back to our entire chart. Okay, great. Moving on. Okay, so for this exercise, I created a second sheet in which we have 3 columns, the sale, amount, and margin. Well, 3 of this data actually are related. This is the sale and amount and margin in each month. So yeah, the margin tells you how much money you earned, the percentage of the sales. So if it was a good sale, the margin would be higher. If it was a bad sale, the margin would be lower. So we'll be using not the column chart anymore. We'll be using the line chart for this one. So let's choose it. So we have the 2D line. We'll be using the 2D line for this one. So let's select our data, use the data range, that'll be here, oh sorry, here and here. Let's see if Excel finds us. Right, it does. And let's click OK. Okay. First off, the biggest mistake you can do in choosing the chart area is select the sum. How so? Well, let's redo this, but this time let's select the sum area with the chart. And click OK, and observe what happens. Yeah. Basically, your last column or your last data point will be extensively higher, and it will destroy the entire chart. This doesn't account the percentage because this is the average. So the sum actually shows the sale sum of all of the sales. So try to avoid pinpointing the sum amount. Okay, so let's undo it. So basically, what we see here are is the relative margin across the sale margin. Yeah. So Does anyone see an error here? Because I do straight away. I'll let you think a bit about it. Remember when we talked about Excel making mistakes or errors during the more complicated data acquisition? So this is it. This is a typical Excel error. It actually thinks that it has a few more separate data areas. So just to show you, we actually have only two series, as I showed you. We have the sales series and the margin one. But Excel somehow created 4 of them. So let's see what they are. So the first one is absolutely correct. That's the sale area. So we can even name it. Okay. The second one, well, this is basically wrong. Excel thinks that the months are a series when we know that they're just and only the names of the months. So let's remove this one. Next off is again a sales. So we simply delete this one. And the fourth one, yeah, the margin, but this time, as you can see, it shows one cell too much. So let's mark the proper amount and call it the margin. January, February, March, April, May, December. Great. But still, well, there's one thing you don't really see here. What I mean is, you see only one line, which shows the sale line. How do I know this? Well, look at the scale. The scale is from 0 to 1000, and our data and sale, well, basically that's it. Percentage is always made from 0 to 1, and if we would change the formatting of it, you would see that if we go to general, it shows numbers from 0 to 1 if it's a plus, but of course you can do a minus, so then it would be from -1 to 1, and by just looking at the scale you can see it being, well, much higher. So what can we do to observe two different scales on one chart? How can we do that? The easiest way is to right-click on our chart area and choose the Format Grid Lines. There you see the Format Major Grid Lines, or, well, basically you can go anywhere and just format chart area or whatever, it doesn't really matter. So let's leave it at the Format Grid Lines or Format Plot area. And from there, let's try to capture the series itself. And now you see the format data series, and then you go to the serial options. So again, series of options over here, and you have two options: primary axis or secondary axis. So by clicking secondary axis, we actually create a separate axis for this data. So the margin will actually have a different scale. So again, primary axis, both of them are on the same scale on the left, and when you go to secondary axis, you can see there's a secondary axis that fits the axis on the left. So they try to align each other just to show, to visualize as much as possible of the data. Okay, so exit. And doesn't it look much better right now? You can see basically the data being in most of places very similar. This just proves how aligned the lines are and how aligned the margin and the sale are. Okay, but what if we wanted to change the scale? We were interested to begin, let's say, at 400. And even if we lost some data, we wouldn't care. We just wanted to see the data between 400 and 1000, or between, or we wanted to switch the percentage and begin at 0.25. Maybe let's change this to the percentage view just to see it better. So from 25% to 50. Well, of course you can do that. Excel actually allows you to change absolutely everything in the chart area. So what you want to do is format axis, and you have the axis options. where Excel automatically changed the minimum and the maximum, which is automatic, as you can see over here. But you can change it by hand. So if you change the minimum to 0.25, go to the max, you can automatically see how the chart changes. And well, if it fits for you, if it's good for you, let's say 0.03, you can see that we don't see all the data, but still Excel will do everything you tell him. So let's do the maximum at 0.7. This is also possible, so we can always go back to the automatic one by pressing reset. Great. Next off, we have the units. So you have the major and minor unit. The major unit would be the unit that shows on the scale. So you can see that the scale is from 0 to 50, but it changes every 5%, and this tells it to. So if we change it to 0.0 to 0.1, oh sorry, 0.1. Great, you can see that the scale is from 0 to 50 again, but you can only see every 10%. So that's basically what it does. So guess what this does? Yeah, you're right. This is basically a secondary units scale. Let's change this to 0.3 and see what happens. That's the best way to learn. Basically nothing. Why? Well, we didn't choose before to change the possibility of actually showing the minor lines. So if we allow it to show the minor lines, then we will see them. But in other ways, it's pretty much useless for us right now. So let's reset it to the optimal ones and maybe change the value from 0.5 to 15. Great. And no, that's wrong. 0.5 was perfect. What I meant was the minimum. Let's change it to 15. So also you have the horizontal axis crosses, which are the lines you can see during the entire row. So it's automatic right now. Usually it just combines with the major unit, so you can see it being well shown for you. So if you change the axis value to from 0.5 to 1, nothing will happen. How so? Well, simply because you have two different columns and two different charts, and it makes you work with both of them. So if you do not change both of them, these lines won't change. So if we would remove this and go back here to the axis options of the sale amounts or the sales, it would be possible, but nevertheless, just for now, bear with me. You will do it later on. So display units. At this moment we see the noun, but let's see the hundreds. You won't see anything because this actually displays only. It loses 2 zeros basically, so it shows hundreds as 1, thousands as 10, and etc. basically. So if you have some maybe large amounts of large numbers like 1 million tons or 10 billion kilograms or whatever. Next off, you have the logarithmic scale. I explained the logarithmic scale in previous lesson, so basically here is the place to change it for charts. Great. that's it for the axis options. I hope you feel a bit better with it, because your next task will be to create a chart like this. Maybe let's input a chart title actually. So sales versus margin. Awesome. So what you want to do right now, I want you to do or create a double chart area for me. So you will need to create primary and secondary axis for it, and please use just to show you again, yeah, please use the line chart and use the basic one, but of course you can use the different styles. I won't be really explaining all of these because we don't really have that much time, but maybe test it out and see what this gives you. And for more visual effects, you can always choose the 3D line. So, what other ways can we show our data? Well, this was, you saw two types of charts. How about we combine them? How about we make one chart with horizontal data and vertical data? How to do this? Well, as simple as anything in Excel, you have a special button for that. So you have the 2D column. We choose, let's select the data. Let's use this area right now. It will be easier for us because Excel will probably do it properly right now. Yeah, it did it. We have two types of data. So you see it being vertical for now, and we want it a bit more horizontal. So let's choose this data. We have the right-click button and change series chart type. So what we can do is choose different types of showing this. So let's choose the basic one, and you see the data being changed. Well, still it's on the primary axis, so let's change it to the secondary axis. Yeah, so we can see it better, and see now what happens. We can see the jumps from the amount versus sale. Sometimes it's useful depending on the business or whatever you're doing. So this is sales versus amount. Great. So our sales versus amount chart looks like this.